Welcome to Season 2 of Chewing the Cud. Grab a seat in the barn. Karen and Dave are here to share the latest from Halton Farms.
Welcome everybody back to the Halton Farms podcast. It's been a while. Where have we been? Well, there's been lots going on. Lots of changes, some really good changes, some really good changes. A few not so positive changes, but that's what happens. It's farming at the end of the day. One of our really good things that happened last year was Dave joined us as our herd manager last year. So it has been a year now that Dave's been with us. And I'd like to introduce Dave to everybody because he's a really important, integral part of our business. And luckily for me and for Tom and for Halton Farms, he buys into our high welfare standards and he absolutely loves cows, which is so important if you work at Halton Farms and so important for our cows and our business. So on that note, I'm going to introduce Dave. So what I'm going to do is, because we need to break Dave in gently, I think. I'm going, until he gets used to doing some podcasting, I'm just going to ask him sort of a few questions. So I'm going to tell you his name is Dave Kirby. And I'm going to ask Dave, you're Dave Kirby, welcome. From now on, you're going to be doing some podcasting with me. Just let everybody know. So what should we start with? Where are you from, Dave? That's the most obvious.
So I'm from Fleetwood, which is not far from Blackpool. So whenever you tell people you're from Fleetwood, you always say it's just down the road from Blackpool. And we're called codheads.
I was going to say, is that, I've heard you say codhead before. Yeah. Is that, I take it that's to do with
that's
fish.
The terminology. We're a codhead. So I was born in Fleetwood and I lived there till I was 11, and then I moved to Preston, Longridge in Preston. So that's where I'm from.
Okay, and what we can't ignore is Dave comes as part of a very lovely package.
Yeah.
So what's that package, Dave?
So I am married to Loretta.
Who's gorgeous, everybody.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
And I have a son called William. He lives in Polton near Blackpool with my ex-wife. And then I have a daughter called Eden, who is 13 months old.
Yeah, and they're all really beautiful and gorgeous children and people. So we're very lucky to have Dave and his family at Halton Farms being part of our team. The other thing that's good for me is Dave's a very driven kind of character, which I think comes from your background, Dave, your original background, before farming really, and alongside farming to a point. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Yeah.
So I always wanted to be a rugby player. So from 3 years old, I went with my dad, who coached at Blackpool Rugby Club every Sunday to play rugby. And that was my dream. I just wanted to be a rugby player. So I think it was year 7 or 8 at school, we had to go on work experience. And for me, I didn't really have a career lined up. I just wanted to play rugby. So we went to church on the Sunday. We're Christians in my family. And my mum just asked the guy at church, can he come to your farm and do some work on the farm? So every single Saturday, since I was I think it was 12 or 13 years old, I've been working on farms.
I love that. I love that they put you to work so early. I'm really all for that. My parents did the same in horses. So good on them.
Yeah. So I did a week work experience, and then the guy said to me, well, how about doing every weekend? And I was like, well, go on then, crack on. And my brother was a butcher, so it worked quite well because he used to take me before going to work. It was out of his way a lot, but he helped me out a lot. And so I worked on farms since I was, I think, probably 12. So I've been in the industry like 23, 24 years.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
So I carried on rugby alongside working on the farm at weekends. And I did really well at rugby. I signed with Saracens at 18 and I thought that was it. I've made it. And then I got injured in the off season, shattered my shoulder joint and got told never to play again. But I did. I played again.
Yeah.
I managed to get it right and then played semi-professional, professional, and did all right, but never quite got to the level that I wanted to.
And why do you think, was that your shoulder always held you back, or?
Yeah, your shoulder's massive in rugby, just confidence had gone. Once it's shattered once, it's going to shatter again. And it's actually happened 3 times, and I've had 3 major operations on it. And They told me never to play again, but I still stupidly put the boots on every so often.
Yeah, you did it last weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And I'm still feeling it now when we're on Thursday. So do
you think it's a bit of a hangover thing? Because you do it, it really hurts, and you go, never again. A bit like drinking, never again, and then you go and do it again.
Yeah, but I absolutely love it. It's been a major part of my life since I was, like I say, 3 years old. So it's very difficult to stay away from it.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say now, farming's in your blood as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in it longer than me. I've only been in it, what have I been in it? 2009.
Yeah.
I married into it in 2009 and came home to work. So
yeah, it's a strange one really, because we don't really have farming in the family. I mean, my uncle's cousins are farmers in Lancaster. We used to go there on holidays. They're sheep farmers. But apart from that, there's not really any farming in my family. But I just love it. I've always loved cows. I think it's the fact they can't speak back to you, and you just notice like that little bit of detail and that little bit of care goes a long way with cows, and they give you back, like if you treat them well, they'll treat you well and they'll give you a bit more milk. And, I like that. I like seeing, how we can impact the cow.
I think, I started off my career with animals, with horses.
Yeah.
And I was always taught from a very young age, you get out what you put in. Mm-hmm. And I think you're dead right there. And that's effectively what you're saying, isn't it? You will get out what you put in, and that's what cows do. Any animal does if you treat it right and show it respect.
Yeah. I think a major thing for me as well, I'm so competitive, probably since I was 3, like I cannot stand losing. We have every single Christmas, we have a game in our household, the cardboard box game. Mm-hmm. You start with a cereal box, you cut a bit off every time and you try and pick it up without putting your hands or any part of your body on the floor apart from your feet.
Oh God.
And I try and win every year, even though I'm getting older. But now, unfortunately, with a gymnast in the family, it's always William or my nieces that win. But yeah, I've always been competitive. And since starting in farming, I've noticed that there's not many people who are really good with cows. And in my head, every single day, I'm just striving to be the very, very best person with cows. And I don't think that's ever going to stop. And I think there's not enough people like that. So I like being very, very good at what I do.
Which for me is absolutely amazing because coming into this industry, I always wanted to be the best I could be. And I suppose a massive part of that for me personally was I had to prove myself because I wasn't from a farming background. So everything I did, I had to strive to show people I was good, which is a good thing. It gave me the drive. What that then did later on was caused me a lot of problems, like trying to find staff that can work like that or want to. So people come here, as you know, and you've seen now, and they look, you show them around and you're like, this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is the respect we've got for the cows. This is, how we roll every day. And I think quietly they think, wow, this is amazing. And they always say it's amazing and they want to work here and it's fantastic. Then we tell them what time we start in the morning, and that kind of a few drop off quite quickly then, or probably don't even turn up for the trial day. Because we always tell them 4:15 they need to be here, and that kind of so that sort of separates the wheat from the chaff for us. That's a bit of a help. But then going forwards, they come and they're like loving it. And then 6 months later, they just crash and burn. Or they can't keep those standards up. And then like you, I'm quite driven, not as driven as you, not as competitive, but I am driven and competitive. And then people I probably then get a bit like, why can't everybody do this every day, all the time? Why can they not work to that standard or level, or walk through the yard and see that crap and brush it up or pick it up? Why are they happy to go home and not have dealt with it? So you have to excuse me as well. There's a noise in the background, which is not Dave falling asleep at me talking, honestly. It's our dog Zeus. So he snores like a person. He's actually as bad as Tom. But the only good thing with Tom is I can kick him into the spare room at night. I'm not kicking Zeusy out of the office. He's too precious. So going back to that, I don't know, I find some people stick with it and can do it for years and do it really, really well. But I don't know whether there's an element, do we burn people out or do we ask too much of them? I don't know. But people like you thrive on that. And I think if we just put units on every day and didn't do the odd competition or be looking for new things all the time and these little marginal gains and how to do things better, I think you probably would get quite bored.
Yeah.
So it quite suits you, which is amazing for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me in this industry, it's been a journey. Like, so I've never been content. Like, I've never just wanted to just sit still, and I've always tried to better myself. So I've worked on a lot of farms. I'm actually, like I say, originally from Lancashire. From the moment that I came into Kaz's office for the job, I was very, very open. Like, I just told her my whole entire life story. You know, I've just laid the cards on the table, and that's how I am with everybody. So, I said, listen, you don't need to know this. I was abused as a kid. I've been a gambling addict for 12, 13 years. I can't go back working in Lancashire really because I've got a bad name, because I set a milking business up and it failed, and I was a gambler, and I chucked a load of money away. And this is me. And but I did say that the one thing I am is highly competitive, and I know how good I am at my job. And I'm not going to lie, I was very, very shocked when I got the opportunity, because I just thought, who's going to take me on when I've just told you my whole entire life story?
But we were very desperate, Dave. No, we weren't desperate. And that's the thing. And I think for me, because I think a bit differently, and I come from a different industry. Yeah. I come from a corporate world. And for me, the fact, I also did, I qualified when I was younger in counselling. Yeah. And I read a lot of kind of psychotherapy books, a lot of books about your mind, games people play, all these different things. I love psychology. Yeah. So for me, the fact that you came and did that, and you told me the whole truth, it was almost a bit like, well, there can't be many more skeletons. Yeah. I remember you saying to me, I just want to be the best I can be. I want to be the best husband I can be. And I want to be the best herdsman I can be. And when somebody says that to you, you're like, you got to take it. Yeah. You got to take, I've got to give him a go.
I think I cried then. I'm tearing up now.
No, you did. You got quite emotional. And again, I don't mind seeing a bit. Yeah. Listen, I'm married to Tom Halton, and there's always an emotion somewhere. Yeah. He's crazy like that. So, but I like that. It's authentic. Yeah. And I think that's really important. And when you are quite authentic like that, and you can show an emotion, to me, that's huge. Yeah. That's really impressive. And I'm not scared of seeing a man have some emotion. Yeah.
I mean, one of my favourite things to say is that the greatest relationships are born out of vulnerability. Yeah. And
vulnerability, that's the word I was looking for. Vulnerability.
And I think that's, for me, that's what I was on that first day I came. I was very vulnerable. I basically laid everything down on the table and just said, this is me. I'll give my all. I'm ridiculously competitive, and I'm always striving to be the best. And I might not have the best past, but I'm wanting to create a better future. And it's been amazing. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it here.
Brilliant. And we love having you, Dave. It's cool. Yeah. You won't get me to cry though. No. I don't get that vulnerable usually. But no, joking aside, the other thing for me is for you to have that vulnerability and that emotion, for me, was really important with my cows, because the way you look physically, you're quite a big guy, you work out, you've got a great body and everything, you're a sportsman. So looking at you walking on here, I would expect somebody like you maybe to be a little bit cocky and maybe a bit of a womanizer even. And, because you are, as you know, we've got milk shack customers that come here to see Dave. And they tell all their friends about it on social media, come and look at the herdsman. So from that, you'd think, God, is he going to be like flirting with all the staff, or is this going to be a load of carnage? But I think because you were very open and vulnerable, I was like, well, actually, and that's what we need when we work with animals, a level of that, not this macho, I'm going to move them and shout at them and hit cows and not show that I care, because it's not macho. So that was quite a bit of an eye-opener for me in a very positive way. Yeah. So it's good. So that's your life story. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that's something really quite, what would I say? It's very personal. Yeah. And I know you are good at sharing that, but every time you do well up a little bit, and there is some real raw emotion still in there. And so I'm sure people listening, will appreciate what you've just shared. And I've seen you share that in church at a christening, and it's very, very powerful. So thank you so much for doing that, Dave.
Stay tuned. Our herd has plenty more to say.
Going forward now here, it's been a year. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've done an amazing job with the cows. You're amazing at recruiting people and dealing with people. I am probably the firer. You're the hirer, I'm the firer. But that's cool. That's what I used to do in my old career. The cows are going really well. The business is going really well. We've had some tricky times along the way in that 12 months. We've had to do a bit of a sifting of people, I suppose. We've had to, and cows, we've had to have some new cows come in, which is a first. In 2024, just before you got here, early in that, we lost 21 cows to TB, which was horrific. And one of those, they're all pets really, even though we've got a lot of them, but one was baby soft pants. So it was particularly heart-wrenching because I'd just literally retired her, and she'd gone in the field in the pet paddock to live with her mum, soft pants. And so that was pretty horrendous. So we were then a bit shorter on milk. So what we did then was buy some cows in for the first time in, I don't know, Tom might tell you different. I think it'll be something like 20 years probably. Wow. We were a closed herd, and we bought a few cows in. So that was some stuff going out, some new stuff coming in. Same happened with people. We did have a little bit of a rough ride along the way. I think in farming, in agriculture, it's a major thing is staff, and people struggle to recruit people. People often say you can't get good people. My argument is I always say, let's get people and make them good. Sometimes that works, sometimes it really doesn't work. But we have to give that a go. And for the first time in a long time, I was a bit blindsided with somebody, and I really wasn't aware of what was going on, but we did have a bit of a problem in here, which luckily we don't have now, but there's been a bit of carnage from that in that a few other people had to leave because of that person, because, there'd been a lot of carnage. And a few complaints had been made to me, and I'd just kind of dealt with it, but thought I'd dealt with it and it had gone away, and it hadn't, and it was still happening. So that was a bit of a tricky sort of turbulent time, really. But the good thing is we got through it. And the good thing was the cows didn't get too affected. And when I say the cows get affected, when people cause problems in a business, if you work in an office and you mess up on some paperwork, or you don't finish your job and you go home at night, the job's still there in the morning. It might be you've missed a deadline and you've cost that company some money. And that's really, really bad. You've cost a business money. That's horrific. I think in agriculture, and especially in livestock agriculture, when you mess up at work and lots of different relationships are going on, and you've got somebody that's a little bit toxic in a business, and it's all starting to sort of impact on other people and people's work, animals get affected. So you don't just affect our bottom line and our business, you actually affect living animals. And that for me is unforgivable. And that's a bit of what was going on. And a little bit of it I missed for the first time for a long time, because it happened to me about probably 6 years ago with somebody else. And I got all these people coming in complaining about this said person. But for a little while, I couldn't see it because I work very closely with them, and I couldn't see it. It's bonkers. And then I did. And then I realised the carnage that was going on. And it happened again last year. And I was really gutted. But I have to protect those cows. And what I always say is I am the voice of those cows, because they can't talk to us, can they? So you and I and Tom and the people that work with them, we're their voice.
Yeah.
So when they're unhappy, if somebody's causing problems, we have to deal with it. So I know for you came into that and you had troubles with it. Our outgoing herdsman had.
Yeah.
an outside contractor did, and quite a few people in the business. Would you say now, how do you feel now that's sorted?
I feel relieved. Yeah, it was a difficult period, and it did affect everybody. And like you say, it affects the cows because people are thinking about that relationship or that friendship rather than thinking about the cows and the task at hand. But I've seen a massive shift recently, and the teams, definitely come together on the back of it.
It's made us stronger, hasn't it, as a team?
100%. And I think it opens your eyes to look out for signals in the future as well,
Yeah. And the carnage of it was, there was a couple, a funny thing is I think all in all, we probably shedded 6 people over last year, and mainly off the back of something that was going on within a group. 4 of those have actually asked to come back.
Yeah.
And we've said no, which is quite hard because there was a couple I wouldn't have wanted to lose really.
Yeah.
But then I don't think it's long enough. They needed to go away for longer. And one probably left in the end because I said, listen, if you can't get the toxicity out of you, go and damage somebody else's business. Don't damage mine.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that. But it was tricky. I wouldn't want to go through it again. We need to make sure we never have to go through that again. And that's probably made me, I know somebody let us down a while ago that came newish, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they didn't turn up one morning. And by the afternoon, I'm saying to you, forget it.
Yeah.
Get rid. They'd only been here like 7 days. But we're like, got a great team and we've got a duty of care to those other people.
Yeah.
And I also feel a little bit guilty, if I'm honest, because that duty of care, I slipped a little bit last year and I should have hit it harder sooner.
But you live and learn.
Live and learn, Dave. Yeah, we live and learn.
I think one of the hardest things on the back of it is then people leave and you just don't know what they're saying about the business,
I'm not bothered about that.
Away from the farm. And that does create problems in the future when you're recruiting because they've heard all this like nonsense.
Which goes back to a lady that's milking for us at the moment.
Yeah.
So she didn't come, did she, at that point?
No.
Because of that.
Exactly.
And the minute all that was removed, she's come and started milking.
Yeah. And to be fair, she also said she heard a lot of stuff. And since she's come, she's been like, oh, wow, I can't believe the environment. Yeah. I can't believe the positivity. Can't believe how amazing Tom and Kaz are and the team, So it just goes to show, doesn't it?
It does.
Don't listen to everything you hear.
No, and you've only got to have that one person that's poisonous. And I always say it just spreads if you don't stamp it out.
Yeah.
So luckily, we're through that. And we've got some great people, so it's lovely.
Chewing the cud. We'll be right back. Just need to round up the herd.
Cow-wise, where are we up to? Let's update on cows, really. I think cows are doing, I hate saying it, because then something goes wrong.
Oh, don't be like that, Kaz. Don't be like that.
No, we had some abortions, didn't we?
Yeah, we have.
We need to talk about Neospora.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people won't know about Neospora. So that's something that dogs carry.
Yeah.
Right, but you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, because I've learned loads more about it lately, because obviously it's just happened to us. So I always thought this would be me. Somebody who lives in a house, on a housing estate, their dog carries Neospora. They poo in a field, a cow eats the grass and the poo, and it causes the cow to abort. But I think I'm right in thinking, for the dog to get Neospora, it has to eat the cleansing from a cow that's a carrier.
Yeah.
The cleansing being afterbirth, basically. So we had like over the last few months, probably 6 abortions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've lost 6 calves. So we had to, because we're quite proactive as well. If we have an abortion, we're like, okay. So apparently one as well was around TB. So it was after we'd TB tested.
Yeah.
So obviously you expect something's going to happen after TB testing because it's quite a stressful time. The cows come through the race to go through the footbath, and there's this lady stood there who's a very lovely TB tester that we have, Yanka. She's absolutely amazing at her job. But she stood there with 2 needles that she's going to dig into those cows' necks. She shaves them first with some clippers that make a buzzing noise, and then she sticks 2 needles in them. It's not what happens to them every day. So cows, very alert, very intense, hate it, get dead stressed. So the next day I had a calf born prematurely, which was 4 weeks premature, which I would put down to that, really. Yeah. Calf's fine though. A little blue bull, he's great. So he's doing really, really well. And then we had an abortion. So you kind of start to put stuff down, don't you, to, oh, well, we've just put a load of stress on them. And I must say, there was another really good point this year. We passed the TB. We've been TB free for over 12 months now, so that's amazing. So anyway, going back to that, so we got to another abortion then, and so then we test.
Yeah.
And our vets are very proactive. Sandstone vets, amazing, dead proactive. Vet mark straight away, save me the abortions, cleansing, whatever. They're going in for testing. Find out it's Neospora. So all we can put it down to is my foxhound, Missy.
Blame Missy.
It is Missy, I think, isn't it? Because unfortunately, Missy is a bit rogue and she does her own thing. She is a foxhound. She's a rescue foxhound from Birmingham Dogs Home. And she eats the cleansings. And then she's obviously going off somewhere. And I think she goes up on top of the maze clamp, rooting about. And if she poos on there, then the lads go and they can't always see right up on the top. When they've pulled the sheet back, they've cleared the rubbish off. If she goes on the next morning, chasing rats or whatever, and does a poo, then they wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's pitch black as well, isn't it?
It's pitch black. They're not going to know. So I found out as well, I've got to do a bit more research, and Vet Mark assures me though, we don't think there's a vaccine. I mean, I'd happily vaccinate Missy and some cows if I could. I don't know how it works. It was only very recently this week we found out.
Yeah, they've said it can go away, so the dog can put it at bay, but it's always there and it can come out at any time as well. That's what he was saying the other day.
Tom thinks it'll go away if we rehome her, but obviously that's not happening. We'll rehome Thomas first, but then there we go, right? So this is my trauma now. So I'm a farmer. So my business brain tells me that dog's a huge problem. But I'm also a dog owner and I love her absolutely dearly, just like I love my cows dearly. So I'm so torn. My heart is torn. Do I get rid of my dog, or do I put the threat to the cows that they're going to abort, which affects my cows and then also massively affects my business?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's kept me awake a few nights, I've got to say. I was awake this morning at 1:30.
That's the way you're at now.
Well, I just watched her trot across the back garden. Then did you see her? And I look at her just gliding around thinking, I can't get rid of you. Yeah. But then I'm sat at my desk looking in the other window at my cows in the 15 group, who luckily have just had calves that are all happy and well. But I don't know, 2 heifers have gone off this week because they aborted.
Yeah.
What? Well, she doesn't come with me in the morning anymore, around to the calf pen. So 3 of them always came with me on the yard in the morning, first thing at 4:30. I keep them in now. They don't come there. They come up on the back top yard with me later on. I don't know. One thing I want to do is completely research it all to make sure there's absolutely nothing out there.
I think we're awaiting some other results as well. So if they come back, there's definitely a spore of them. Then,
yeah, we've got we'll get Vet Mark in, no pressure Vet Mark, and sit around a table and see what we're going to do. Because she's a nightmare to keep in as well. That's why we've got loads of really high fencing everywhere. She is hard work. If she goes off in the morning, I've got a tracker on her. She can do 7 or 8 miles around the fields in the morning, hunting about. She never catches anything. She's too fat, but and she's not hungry, so she's not going to catch anything. But she just goes rooting around for hours. She's like a homing pigeon. She always comes straight back to me. So I don't know. It's just a dilemma, I suppose. It's a conversation we'll be having at some point in the future, near future. So that would be something that didn't go so well. But apart from that, cows are doing great. Milk's doing good. Milk price is pretty good at the minute. Again, I hate saying things like that because it could all change tomorrow. But at the moment, everything seems quite, the stars are aligned and it's all going well. The price is up there, which it should be. Are we all making loads of money? We're not making loads of money. We're making money, but we're also plugging some of the gaps that we had when it wasn't so good. So we're still doing that, but we are managing to invest a little bit now, which is good. It's happy. It's, the other day, somebody had put on the Facebook page that they came to get some milk from the milk shack and they've never seen such happy, relaxed cows. Those cows are happy and relaxed and doing averaging 36 litres.
And we're not having any other problems, like the feet are good and the health's good. So, so you take 36.
Yeah, I'll take 36 any day. We've got somebody, our foot trimmer, Lee. It's called LMF. Hoof Care.
Oh, he's going to love this. He's going to absolutely love this.
For Lee. Who is, again, I would say, whether Lee knows it, but he does play rugby, doesn't he?
He tries.
Yeah. Dave? I didn't agree with that, Lee. That was not me. And so, again, he's very much, he wants to do a really good job.
Yeah.
He wants you to have no lame cows. He wants you to be the best herd. And he's got another customer who has got, it's either us or them, isn't it, that are his best customers for foot health and no lameness. So all the time, I'm always saying, so are we better this month? Are we better? Have we got the least lameness this month? And so it's quite good because he's quite competitive.
Yeah, he's pushing us all the time, which is great. So he's always pushing us to get the mobility score. And we were 1.8 last time. So that was, that we were top of the
Were we the top? Yeah, amazing. Oh, I love that. So we've got Cream Cake Friday tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Tom's doing us a Cream Cake Friday, so we need to celebrate that tomorrow.
And an emotional speech, no doubt.
Yeah. So like you, he cries. It's great. All these men around me that cry. It's hilarious. No, it's good. So we did do a video, didn't we? So Lee came to do one of his routine foot trimmings.
Yeah.
Last Monday. Monday this week.
Monday just gone, yeah.
Wow. So Matt from a company, so I've worked with Matt for a long time, and Matt helps us to produce this podcast. And he's got a company called South Cheshire Digital. So he does things like podcasts and stuff, and he'll do some filming. So he came on Monday. So bless him, Lee gets here for 4:30, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt made it for 7. Hat off to him, which meant he'd have had to have got up at 6. So fair play.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, because in Matt's line of work, you wouldn't really need to get up before 6, really. So Matt came and got all his equipment set up, and away he went for 7 o'clock filming and chatting to Lee and stuff. So we've got some great stuff to come out on. So when he's got that together, we'll be putting that out on our social media platforms. And hopefully we'll get that onto our website. Yeah,
and I think it's great for people to see, why we do things as well. And Lee was really good at going into depth of why we routinely trim the cow's feet. So it'll be good for people to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important. The other important thing is that, we have to show the good stuff. We've got loads of good stuff, but we need to talk about the bad stuff. So talking about TB, and I know, Leah and I earlier on did a session, a podcast session about TB. And I think that's really important because people need to understand what it is and what happens. But then there is another really, really amazing thing that we can't forget that happened to us last year,
I was
Dave.
just about to say,
What
I can't
was it,
believe
Dave?
you've not mentioned any of the amazing achievements.
Oh, that's because I'm not one to brag, Dave. But I'll tell you now, we won British Dairy Farmer of the Year.
Yes,
Yeah. So it was Farmers Guardian, British Farming Awards, and we won Dairy Farmer of the Year, which was absolutely amazing. You went to the evening, so we had a table, didn't we?
Yeah.
Had some good friends there.
Tom did a little boogie.
Tom did a boogie on the stage, which, I called him a dickhead. So Vernon Kay, after I'd left the room, told everybody his wife had just called him a dickhead, which I did, because he was jumping around that stage, wasn't he? He was so thrilled.
Absolutely bonkers.
And that's how Tom would celebrate. So that's Tom, because his emotions, for a bloke, his emotions are out there. I'm a bit more reserved.
And people don't realise the amount of effort that goes into winning these awards. A lot of farmers just do go through the daily routine and aren't bothered about winning awards, but we care.
Yeah.
We like winning.
Yeah,
and we
we
like
do,
putting the effort in because we like winning, and we like to be acknowledged for what we've done. And the amount of effort that goes into it, Tom getting up every single day and yourself getting up every single day at like 3:15 to 4, you know, it's all going to pour out, isn't it, when it comes to something like that?
Yeah.
And it did.
No, it did. It did. It did. And the funny thing was, though, pretty much whenever we win something, we're always bowled over, and especially if quite often you get put forward for things. So sometimes you think, oh God, there's two things. One, you can't really say no then because somebody's actually thought you were good enough to put up for an award. So even if you don't think you're good enough, I think you've really still got to have a go.
Yeah.
But then secondly, there's always that thing that somebody's put you up and then you don't win it. You're kind of letting them down, and you don't always know who put you up really or put you forward. So it makes it doubly nerve-wracking. But the week before or a couple of weeks before, we'd been to another awards dinner in London that we weren't up for anything, but our contractor was. He was up for Contractor of the Year. And when we sat there, it was a massive do, and it was really great night and everything. But when people won stuff, they got up and they were kind of like, oh, wow, thanks and everything. But nobody went quite mental, really celebrate, apart from one bloke. And when he was up there getting it, Tom goes to me, if we ever win the next thing we win, or if we ever win anything again, I'm going to celebrate like him. He said, because that's right. He says, and that's how we usually celebrate if we ever win anything. He goes, because he is genuinely over the moon with that. Yeah. And he was, and you could see it in him. And I'm sure everybody else was. They were just probably a bit more like me, a little bit more reserved. Or they'd got stilettos on like I had. And I couldn't really jump about. And so we did.
And we're both crying our eyes, aren't we? And Tom, we had a little moment, a nice little cuddle, and tears on his shoulder.
Oh my God. Help. So that was brilliant. So that's one of our huge, massive achievements in our farming career. And it goes up there on the wall. It's one of the biggies.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And I'm really chuffed that you were here to be part of that.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely.
Well, you drove to that as well because you joined us in like February, March time last year. The awards were in October, November.
Yeah.
So, you were a massive part of that.
Great.
So we'll be doing some more stuff this year. I'm not going to say what everything is yet because we might not get through. It's all very well going, oh yeah, we're going to be in such and such. Well, we'll put the application in. We might not get through the first stage, but if we do, we'll let everybody know and talk about it. And one of those things, well, two of them actually, if we get anywhere, you have an open day or an open evening. And we've won one of them before, which was the Cheshire Farms competition, which is a competition that goes back donkey's year. I mean, I haven't got the numbers in front of me, but I think it goes back nearly 100 years.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Tom knows a little bit more than me about it. And we won that in, I think it was 2018 or 19. I think it might be 2019. There's a plaque in the milk shack. And we won the overall farm award. So we had to have an open evening. And we had over 500 people.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, it's a fabulous thing to do because you don't just get farmers come in, you'll get an agricultural people, you get general public come.
Yeah.
So a bit like Open Farm Sunday when, we had like 1,000 on Open Farm Sunday when we did that a couple of years ago. So I think that'd be another good thing to do, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean,
love that.
A lady came up to me the other day saying, are you going to open your farm up again? So people must remember when you did it. It must have been a good day because, they want it again. Yeah. No, and I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah. And a lot of people in the industry really helped with that in that, ND Harper, Nige Harper, our contractor, he brings like equipment and kit because kids love to see tractors and machinery. James Ashbrook at Ashbrooks, he bought like a mini digger thing and you could have a go and knock a ball off a cone and all that sort of stuff. And, we were doing that free. We weren't charging people to do it. Well, we were letting people and the kids do it. And James Blessing came and sat with it all day. And Masses bought a feed wagon and had a stall and talked to people. GLW, they did the same. George White.
it's massive,
Yeah.
the support that you get for doing that sort of thing.
The
So
farming community just comes together, doesn't it?
yeah, one thing I would say, it is quite costly to put that on. And I know when we won the Cheshire Farms Award, you feed people as well. So we had to pay for a big barbecue. But then a lot of people that bought things and had stands paid to do that. We had a double-decker bus that was a bar. And so it was still going at like 12 o'clock at night. Yeah, it was quite an event.
Big party.
It is a party. It is a party. But you open the farm up and people walk round and you explain what you do and show them. And people absolutely love watching cows being milked. So you get it now, don't you? When you're milking, people come up in the little alleyway. And I so wish we could put a viewing gallery in somewhere. But we've looked, and the structure and the way we're set out, it's hard to do. It would cost a lot of money, but it's still on my page. I still often think we're not going to get any money back for doing it. So it's not a money maker. So we've got to have the cash to do it. And that's just it. We spend the money and we don't see a return on it. But we show people there'll be a return somewhere in education.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's something. Anything, Dave, you've got that you want to share before we finish on this episode? Anything, any aspirations or anything? I think you actually deserve a good holiday soon. You are going to get a holiday, aren't you, soon? I think.
Yeah, away this weekend.
Yeah.
Going to Lakes this weekend, which will be nice. Take the paddle boards, have a nice little paddle around.
Oh, lovely.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Everything's going exactly how I would like it to go. And, we've got a great team and we're moving forward in the right direction and continuously trying to improve, which is the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to find them little margins everywhere, them little 1%ers to make a big difference overall.
Yeah. And moving in the same direction. Yeah. That's really important. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please remember to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all our future episodes.
Chewing the Cud with Karen and Dave, your insiders at Halton Farms, British Farming Awards Dairy Farmer of the Year.
Stay up to date with everything that's happening at Halton Farms by following our social channels. All links are available in the show notes. And remember, we are social cows.